Am I live?
You're on.
Okay. The only thing, welcome everyone. FYI, the only thing I can see right now is my presentation, so I can't see the chat or anything else. So, we're live. Woohoo! Who knows what fun things could happen during this session? Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, depending on where you are. This is Healthy Relationships in Live Action BL, and I am Wren, aka BL Compilations. This session is being recorded, and Miri, I forgot to ask, is the chat recorded as well or no? So people know if it's, I don't know if it's being recorded. Do you know?
I don't believe so.
Okay, we don't believe the chat is being recorded. So a couple of kind of announcement type things. There will be a PDF link at the end of this presentation, so you can get that link at the end. I want to thank our moderator, Miri. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me at the convention. I'm going to do a brief introduction, then I'm going to define healthy and unhealthy. I'm going to go through some of my favorite series, and I think there's a couple movies in there. I have some closing thoughts, and then we're going to have a kind of open chat time, and then I think at that point I'll be able to see the chat as well, so I can hopefully look at questions there. But let's get started. Okay, so about me, I am an extroverted geek. You probably can't tell because it's mostly just my face, but I did dress up as Star Trek. So you can see my little Star Trek pin. And I have a tribble, but I'm not going to turn the tribble on because then I have to turn the tribble off so it doesn't make tribble noises throughout the presentation. I'm newer to BL. I started by watching on Netflix, and I'm sorry if I say it wrong, but I watched Sodus, and I did not know there was a whole genre called BL until I saw that series. So I started looking up other series and watching more series. I'd like to say that I fell down the rabbit hole, but I actually propelled myself down the rabbit hole of BL and have been happily swimming ever since. So after watching a lot of things, I noticed kind of similar tropes or scenes such as sponge baths and piggyback rides and accidental fallen catches. So I think I have a pretty decent sense of humor. So I started making image compilations and memes based on the BL series that I was watching. And then that eventually turned into video compilations. So I make one video every Monday, and then that's actually the header of my YouTube channel, and that was Get Away from My Future Husband. You might recognize is from Bad Buddy, and Way is one of the character names, so kind of a play on words. All right. So I want to talk a little bit about my definition of healthy and also unhealthy. I don't think there's one definition that everyone agrees on for healthy or unhealthy. So I just did some research, and this is based on my own personal experiences with, I would say, healthy and unhealthy relationships. So a healthy, functional, intimate relationship is based on equality and respect, not power and control. There are boundaries. I'm not going to read all of this. So boundaries, communication, trust, and consent. I found these images from an organization called One Love, and I liked that they were visual. So what is a healthy relationship? Comfortable pace, trust, honesty, independence, respect, equality, kindness, taking responsibilities, healthy conflict, and fun. Notice that that's not exactly the same as the previous definition, although there is some overlap. They both had trust, and I would say comfortable pace probably goes along with boundaries. And then on the flip side, they have this image of unhealthy. I won't read through all of them, but most of them are kind of the opposite of the healthy ones. So here are some things that I would say are not healthy. Again, this is my definition. And I should say too, I'm not a doctor or a therapist. My background's actually in education, but it's based on my personal experiences and things I've read and learned. So this isn't limited to BL. This stuff appears in romance with non-BL as well. Kidnapping, held against will, aggressive pursuit, stalking, manipulation, blackmail, extreme possessiveness, jealousy, lying, ghosting, refusing to communicate, long time gaps, power imbalances, illegal or immoral, things like doctor-patient, teacher-student, boss-employee, physical violence, punching, slaps, thrown up against things, sexual violence, non-consent, dubious consent, things like if someone's really drunk or sleeping. So I'm not going to do a whole lot of consent because that could be multiple presentations, but this is the definition from Planned Parenthood. It's freely given, reversible, informed, enthusiastic, and specific. And then I also linked, there's it's called a T video on YouTube, and it's worth a watch if you haven't seen it before. It's actually really interesting to also look at the comments for the video because people kind of bring up more nuances or additional things to think about with consent. Okay, so the part that we all want to, well, probably all of you want to listen to is the recommendation list. So a couple of things before I actually get into the recommendations. I only included series that are finished airing, so there's nothing that's currently airing in here. I only included ones that have international release and English subtitles. These are just a few of my personal favorites, so it's definitely not an inclusive list of healthy relationships. Just some of my faves. I apologize if I pronounce names incorrectly. My meager French ability is most likely not going to help me in this situation, so I pre-apologize for that. I'm going to try to be spoiler-free, but I do want to talk a little bit about why I think this is a healthy relationship and why I think that these people are going to be happy together in the long term. I didn't put content warnings or where to watch in my presentation, but if you go on my drama list, you can find reviews for myself and other people. I always include content warnings in my reviews. And if you want to look for the official links, there's a website, and I linked it at the end of the presentation, called World of BL. And that has a ton of links, but just keep in mind that World of BL and MDL are only certain countries. So they're not an inclusive list of everything in the entire world. And for this presentation, I did go across the globe. So I think that's all of the things I want. Oh, and also I will try to mention what the platform is as I'm talking about these, but just keep in mind that I'm in the US, so it might be different where you are. A lot of the streaming platforms are region specific, unfortunately. So you could use a VPN, or sometimes they're on different platforms like Viki and Gaga Ulala, especially will have the opposite series. So that could happen too. All right, so let's get into the OG, Thailand. Here are two of my favorites with healthy relationships. So the first is ingredients. It's a roommate situation. So Tops is an aspiring chef. He's the one holding the orange on his head in this picture. And it is played by Gameplay, and Gameplay and Jeff were actually at last year's convention. They were awesome. Who is an actual chef in real life, and we learned that Gameplay created all of those recipes, which is extremely impressive. This series is sponsored by a grocery store chain, so just know that there's a lot of cooking. And then the other character is Wren, who is an aspiring musician, and it's played by Jeff, who is also a real-life musician and actor. So it's kind of interesting that the characters they play mirror themselves in real life a little bit. And for anyone who's going to start watching it, you are in luck, because this thing came out, I don't know, was it once every 2 weeks or once every 3 weeks? It took like 9 months to finish airing, and each episode is not very long. So it was a lot of waiting, but it has a good payoff. I really enjoyed the series. So some of the things that I think about when I think that they have a healthy relationship is they're really caring, they support each other's goals, and they're just really sweet of the other person. So that's one of my recommendations. And this is on YouTube. I think it's probably free on YouTube anywhere in the world, but I'm not 100% sure. So it's on YouTube. The next one is Bad Buddy, and this is from GMM TV, which makes a lot of BL series in Thailand. Also free on YouTube. I think almost all or all of GMM TV's BL series are free on YouTube. So Bad Buddy stars Pat and Pran, who are neighbors. It has a kind of Romeo and Juliet scenario at the beginning where they have rival families. So I don't know that the beginning is the healthiest relationship, but as they get to know each other more, I think it definitely becomes a healthy relationship. And the thing I really liked about their relationship is communication. I wanted to put something else, but I thought it was kind of a spoiler. So I'm just going to leave it at communication. And they have some really good conversations on screen. And I have a feeling they had some really solid conversations off screen that we didn't get to see. So overall, Bad Buddy is one of my favorites that features what I would consider a healthy relationship. Okay, Taiwan is up next. So the first I'm going to talk about is History 3 Trapped. And we all need a sequel for History 3 Trapped. Can we all agree that we need a sequel for this one? If anyone here has connections with the History series, I will help crowdfund a sequel. Please, 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 please. So History 3 Trapped involves a mafia boss. That's Tang Yi. He's the one in the black pinstripe suit. And Xiao Fei is a police officer who's the one that's pointing the gun at Tang Yi. They also, as you can maybe tell based on the poster, don't have the best relationship to start. So it's a little rocky in the beginning there. They also have some really good conversations with one another. They're caring with the other person. And then one thing I really liked about this series was Tang Yi specifically. There's a scene where he talks about that he feels that he's changing from being in his relationship with Xiao Fei, that he likes the change and he wants to continue changing. I think sometimes when you're in a relationship, you can change too much for someone else and you kind of lose yourself. And if it doesn't align with your values and your goals, then that's something you're going to end up probably resenting. This specifically happened to me where I was in a relationship and I felt like my soul was slowly being sucked out of my body and it was leaving me the shell of who I was. So that's not good. But in this situation, that's not happening because Tang Yi says he wants to change. So I thought that was a really interesting part of the relationship. And also the change makes them more compatible in the long term. So that was also kind of a interesting part. The next one is See You After Quarantine. I didn't even know this thing when it aired. I had no idea. I feel like it flew way under the radar. It's low budget. I think they filmed it on cell phones. So it is low budget. It has the kind of Game Boys pandemic style with the video calls and texting a lot. But it's so sweet. History 3, by the way, is on Viki and YouTube. And it has sweet moments, but it has some really serious moments. See You After Quarantine is on Viki, and it's really fluffy. If you want a short, fluffy, healthy relationship series, then I highly recommend See You After Quarantine. And then the last one is not a BL because Love is Science is a romance. There's like two or three couples. There's 2 male-female couples, and then this is a side couple. It's the full episodes are on Viki, and then it has an official cut of episodes 1 through 10 on YouTube. It's actually linked in my drama list review. And I would say you could just watch that 1 through 10 clip, official clips for the beginning of the relationship. They don't have much screen time. But then after episode 10, you probably want to watch the whole thing on Viki because there are official YouTube clips of their scenes, but it misses out on a lot of the context. And so I think it's best to watch the whole thing on Viki. And So why do I like this couple? Oh, it's Mark and Owen. I didn't say their names. So Mark and Owen, one of my favorite couples. Mark, who's the one wearing plaid. I don't know which side is my right and your right, but his face is larger in the poster. That's Mark. And Mark has quite a bit of growth during the series. I don't want to say specifically what it is because you should watch it and find out for yourself. But it's really neat to watch him learn and, you know, have cognitive dissonance and grow. And then he also is really good at reassuring Owen. And I think a lot of times in romance series, we see a poor communication, and then there's like ghosting and a long time gap. And then eventually they come back together and are happily ever after at the end. But in real life, that kind of thing is really, really hurtful. I mean, it's shown to be hurtful as well, but it's not one of my favorite tropes. So I really appreciated that Mark is really good at seeing when Owen is not sure of their relationship, and he goes to reassure Owen, and also he is just really good with pursuing communication. Like Mark will not let himself be ghosted. Mark's like, I am going to communicate with you, and I will find a way to talk it through with you. So I liked that about Mark. And Owen's really awesome as well. Also, I want a whole series of these two because they didn't have a lot of screen time. So I'm fine if we go back to the beginning, start again from the very beginning, and have a whole series. I know I am not the only person who watched this series for this couple. I am 100% sure that is not the case. So I think we should have a whole series with those two. All right. Okay, next up is the Philippines. So the first one is Boys Lockdown. And this series is free on YouTube. It's really gentle. It's it takes place during the pandemic, so that's not the most gentle of things, but the series itself and their relationship is really, really gentle. And it's Key and Chen are the two main characters. It's some video calls, but also in person as well. It's kind of a mix of the video call and in-person pandemic style, I guess, series. Highly recommend. I think we were supposed to get a sequel that was kind of a meta sequel, but I have not heard anything about it recently, so I'm not sure where we are with the sequel to that, but I would really enjoy a sequel. The next one from the Philippines is Like in the Movies, and this is with Carl and Vlad. So they become accidental roommates, I guess. And I'm going to try to be careful because I don't want to spoil it too much. But I really appreciate how they support one another. They are very different, and they are in different places in their lives. And what they want is different from what the other person wants. So if we think back about the Trapped one, and I was talking about changing, I was fine and happy that Tangy was changing because he wanted the change. And he said that, and he liked the change. And in this case, I appreciate that the characters support each other, and they know that asking another person to change is not the happiest thing for them. Even if it makes you yourself happy, it might not be what's best for the other person. So I like that they really support each other in the series. And yeah, I did want to mention, though, because this is talking about healthy relationships, that one of the actors did accuse the writer of sexual harassment. And I didn't hear anything more about if there were like files or chart or anything regarding it, but I just wanted to say that. And the actors haven't said not to support the series. I've never heard them say anything about not supporting it, like not watching it or boycotting it or anything, but I did want to put that out there because we are talking about healthy relationships. So the last one is Game Boys. So Oh, and Like in the Movies is on YouTube. Game Boys was on YouTube when it originally aired, and now it is on Netflix in some areas. And the movie came out last summer. I saw it twice. It was just online screenings, and then season 2, I think, is like just finished airing in, I think, the Philippines. And then Gaga Ooh La La said that they've picked it up, so they're going to be showing the movie. I can't remember the date. I think it's like July 6th, maybe, sometime beginning July, and then they're going to show the second season, which I've heard is the movie plus additional things, but I can't say for sure because I haven't seen the second season. And Gaga Ooh La La is also picking up the second season, so that's good. So what do I like about these two? Okay, so Gav was a little aggressive in the beginning for my taste, but they turn into really caring for the other person, and there's actually some really good examples of consent, both in the first series and also in the movie. And consent isn't always, it can be, but it's not always a verbal conversation. Sometimes it's also like body language and a head nod or something like that. So you have to watch carefully, but I think you'll be able to see where those examples happen. And that was really lovely to see. So I feel that these two, they'll make it in the end, in the long term. All right. So we're done with the Philippines. Okay, next up is South Korea. These three are actually all on Gaga Ooh La La, and they're all short movies. So I think they're around 20 to 30 minutes. Just Friends is probably the longest one out of the three. Some more in Step For You are from a production company called Strongberry, which is an awesome production company. They make a lot of really great short films, and they made something called Long Time No See. That's also a favorite. And I will say I have many favorites which do not appear in this presentation. So anyway, Some More has, again, a really great consent example in it, and they're just really kind to each other. The setup for the story is the one guy is biking in the countryside and falls off his bike and gets a little injured. And then a very handsome farmer comes to save him and give him some TLC, some first aid. And so they spend like the weekend together. So really lovely. Also, we don't get as many series set in the countryside, so I like that. And we don't really have that many farmer BL characters, so I also really like that. The next one is Step For You. So in this one, the one character is like a journalist student, or he is writing an article for his student newspaper at his university, and he is interviewing a dancer. That's the one with the back facing us. So if you like dance, they're not very long scenes, but there are a couple short dance scenes in it. I think it's contemporary, if I remember correctly. And this one is, again, just really gentle, really sweet. And it has a really nice example of supportive friends. So I appreciated the conversations that the friends had with one of the characters. That was really nice. The last one is Just Friends, and the question mark is part of the official title. This is from 2009, so I think it might be the oldest. I think it's the oldest thing on this entire presentation. This is also an established relationship. So he's visiting his boyfriend who has a short break from the military. And I really appreciate that they like stand up for their relationship. They have some bumps in the road, but instead of, ghosting each other, they like talk and they stand up for the relationship. They fight for the relationship. I appreciate that. So there's some really sweet moments. Also, there's a really good kissing scene. I don't know if I'm the only person that cares about that, but it's pretty hot. So that's another bonus. It's on Gaga Ooh La La. All three of these are on Gaga Ooh La La, at least where I am from. Okay. This is so weird that I'm talking to myself. I can't see anything or hear anyone. All right. So continuing on, Japan. These are a couple of my favorites from Japan. The first is Cherry Magic. And no, I am not going to try and read the entire title. It's Cherry Magic. I'm going to call it a Cherry Magic. So this is on Crunchyroll. And then the second one, and Cherry Magic has a movie that aired, but so far it doesn't have an international release. I've heard it's good though, but we can't watch it yet. Hopefully we'll be able to watch it in the near future. My Love Mix-Up, also from Japan. This is, I should say Cherry Magic is two work colleagues. So it's like a workplace office romance. And then My Love Mix-Up is a high school setting. So they have different settings. They both have kind of a similar comedy style in that one character is really exaggerated. And that used to bother me, but I don't know. It doesn't bother me anymore. I just kind of am used to it. It seems kind of common for Japanese BL that are adapted from manga to have one character that has like very exaggerated acting. And yeah, now it doesn't bother me. It did in the beginning. I didn't like it. And now it's fine. So I thought that these two shared kind of similar characteristics in that there was a lot of consideration for the other person, really thinking about things carefully, thinking things through carefully, and yeah, just really caring about the other person, how the other person's feeling. Is the other person comfortable? So they both had a lot of similarities, I think, in that regard. But hopefully we get that Cherry Magic movie at some point. Again, if anyone has any contacts in Japan, we all want the Cherry Magic international release. Please, I will pay for it. I will pay to watch that movie. And then I have a couple of more. So I just left it kind of many countries from around the world. The first is Heartstopper from the UK, and that actually came out on Netflix. It says on the poster April 22nd. And this is between Nick and Charlie. So this is a high school romance setting. And it has some serious parts in it, and it has content warnings in it. However, the relationship between Nick and Charlie, I think, is very healthy. There is a lot of kindness. They have some really good conversations. They think about what it is that they want, what would make the other person happy, how to negotiate that. And that part was really, really sweet. Also, I think we got a green light for the second season of it. So I don't know how long it takes Netflix to make a second season. Maybe next spring or next summer, maybe we'll get the second season. So, and this does have source material as well, which I read a little bit of it and I liked it too. So that's Heartstopper from UK on Netflix. The next one is, I think, my favorite thing from Vietnam, which is called Goodbye Mother. Also, it's an excellent title and it works on more than one level, which I appreciate a title that works on multiple levels. So this is another established relationship scenario. So Van is the one who's not in the striped shirt, goes back to Vietnam to his family with his mom and his grandma, and he has like aunts and uncles with his boyfriend, and they are not out to anyone in their family. So they go back as friends, but they are an established romantic relationship. And all is not super smooth. There are some content warnings in this one. there's also some really sweet moments. And again, I appreciate that they fight for their relationship and they don't just like throw in the towel. So I really like that about this. This is actually a movie. It's not a series. I don't know how long the movie is, but it's under 2 hours. And as a random aside, there is also a really nice kissing scene in this one that takes place in a shower, in a bathroom / shower. I actually included it on my last video from this past Monday. So I had to cut it though. I had to cut that scene quite a bit because this isn't written anywhere, but I think if you have more than 8 seconds of kissing, then you're going to get an 18 rating. If it's 8 seconds and under, I think it's okay. But over 8 seconds, then I think it's called like prolonged oral contact, and you'll get an R or a, whatever that's called, an age restriction. So I had to cut their kissing scene down, unfortunately. The movie has the full kissing scene in all of its glory, and there's a tattoo. One of the guys has a tattoo. It's really great. But that's not the only reason that I like it. It is one reason though. But they have, again, I think they have a healthy relationship, and I think that I feel good about, you know, if we came back to these couples in 5 years or 10 years, I feel like they'll be together. Okay, so these are actually my last 2, and then we'll have general chatting time, or if other people have other recommendations. So Schitt's Creek, this is specifically season 3 to 6 is when the male-male relationship happens. It's from Canada. And, oh, I forgot to say, Goodbye Mother is on Viki and also a website called Tubi TV. It's TUBITV.com. So it's free on that website if you're able to get that website. So this is Schitt's Creek. It's from Canada. This is not a BL. It's a comedy, dramedy, crack comedy. I'm not really sure how to describe it, but it's really, really funny. So I highly recommend to start at season 1 and watch all the seasons because it's really funny. Right now it's on Netflix, but you can also buy episodes and seasons on other platforms, including Amazon Prime Video. So there's other places you could watch it as well. But yeah, this family they're really wealthy. They lose their money and they go from a mansion to a motel and have to adjust with living in a motel. And it's hilarious. David is one of the characters. He's the son, and he's also really hilarious. I don't even want to tell you the other guy's name because I feel like it's gonna. Oh, my Tribble made a little fuzzy through the air. Okay, the other guy's name because I kind of want you to be surprised. Although I did tell you which season it starts in. So things that I liked about their relationship and why I think like it's gonna last and it's healthy is they work towards common goals, and they also are very different people. They are very different characters. They have opposite strengths and weaknesses, so they kind of help each other out because one person's weakness, the other person has that strength, so they kind of can do the heavy lifting or kind of balance things out. And they're just a really awesome couple, so I highly recommend, even though it's not a BL series, I recommend watching it. And maybe the title is not appealing. I actually didn't watch it right away because I hated the title, but I don't know. It doesn't really have, that's just the little town that they're in. It doesn't have anything else significant wise. And then the last one I have is a short called Love is Love from India. This is only 12 minutes long. It is adorable. It's so stinking cute. Just really sweet. They're really caring towards one another. There's a good consent example in it, and I don't want to say too much else, and I can't really say too much else because it's really short. It's only 12 minutes long, but again, it's really adorable. So I would recommend checking that out. And this one I actually did link to YouTube. because if you just type Love is Love in YouTube search, it is really challenging to find the series. And even if you add things like BL or India, it can be tricky. So this one I gave a direct link so that everyone can go and enjoy it. 12 minutes of happy bliss. Okay, so I have a few final thoughts, and this was just a meme that I made. The number of live action BL series before 2020 was not very many. And then the number afterwards, like just torrential downpour. And this is from Mr. Unlucky Has No Choice But to Kiss, which is from Japan. I almost included it. I was really close. In fact, I think at one point it was on here. But Fukuhara did something specifically that I just really didn't like. So they got kicked off the presentation. I would say overall, though, it's still a healthy-ish relationship. But there was one thing that I was not happy about. So anyway, I feel really happy that we have a lot more series now that we can choose from and we can watch. And that's really nice to see now. So as promised, here are the resources. I have no idea how many people are actually right now watching this. I mean, there could be like 2 of you and there could be, I don't know, 50 people or something. So anyway, whoever's here, thank you for joining us in this presentation. I hope you've enjoyed it. And that's the link. It's tinyurl.com/22 BL compilations. So that should give you the PDF. I checked it before my presentation, so hopefully it's all good and it works. And then I thought it would be cool if we had a decent amount of people here that we could do kind of a crowdsource thing. I don't read as much. I'm more of a watcher. So if any of you like to read things like webtoons or manga or novels, I thought it'd be kind of cool. So I made a form. Note that on the form, if you're logged into Google, it will say what email, but it is an anonymous form. I promise you it's anonymous. So it's not collecting any emails. I really dislike that Google changed this, and I have submitted a feedback request that probably no one will watch or read or do anything about. But anyway, it is anonymous. It's not collecting your email address. I just ask some different questions because I thought it would be useful if we knew like which country it was from and what content warnings are on it, and if you could say why it is that you like it. And then after about a week, I could share it out on my social media so that we could all enjoy a bunch of recommendations from people. And then these are two websites that I mentioned in my presentation. So the World of BL has the official links, and I think it's really important that we try as much as possible to support BL officially, because then we'll get more of it. So I know that financial stuff can be an issue. So for example, I have a couple subscriptions to streaming platforms that are ongoing, and then I have ones that like rotate. So I'll binge stuff in a month, and then I'll pick up a different streaming platform and binge stuff in that month, and then drop that one and then go to another one. So that's kind of what I do, because otherwise I'd be paying for like, I don't know, 30 streaming platforms every month. They're just, this stuff is all over the place. So yeah. And then, so World of BL is the official links, and my drama list has, for a lot of the series, not all of the series I talked about, but a lot of the series, it has the kind of the summary of who the cast characters are, you know, the director information, and then it also has people's reviews, and also people will chat about, especially when they're airing, if you want to like chat about the current episode, people will chat on the kind of the main page if you scroll all the way down. So that's a really useful resource again. So those are my resources. So I think I'm done with the talking head part of this relationship, or this presentation. So Miri, if you want to like, can I stop sharing my screen so I can like see people? Does that work? Okay. All right, hold on. Stop screen. Ah, look, I can see myself too. All right, so, okay, right now I see myself, but I don't see anything else. I don't see any like, oh, I see comments. Never mind. Okay, so I guess for this open chat time, if people had questions about anything I talked about or other, I'm kind of a human encyclopedia for live action. I'm not trying to brag, but I've seen a lot of BL series. Thank you. Thank you. Rebecca V19 said, I love your makeup. So yeah, I think I forgot to say that. No, maybe I did say that. I tried to do the like Star Trek outfit because there's really not any BL set in outer space live action that I could think of that I could like dress up as a character. So I did that. I'm 100% sure that there is Kirk and Spock fan fiction, right? There has to be a bunch of it. So yeah, and then I just went with like futuristic makeup. This is my version of futuristic makeup, so that's what that Kirk and Spock. I know. Wonderful panel. Thank you so much. The OG is /fic. The OG, yeah, I'm sure it is the OG for /fic. Semantic Error, have I watched it? Yes, I did, and I really liked it. I did not include it, though, in this presentation. But I wouldn't say it's like, at least in the series, I wouldn't say it's super unhealthy by any means. But it wasn't one of my like top healthiest ones, but I really like Semantic Error, and I hope that we get a sequel. I know that with the military thing, we're gonna have to wait a couple years, but you know, they can just work on the script for 2 years. Give it a really good script, and I don't want cheating, and I don't want some random X to come back. Like, just give me a really good, well thought out season 2 script. I want some domestic bliss. I want some realistic challenges that they have to overcome together, and maybe a wedding at the end. I don't know. They could like adopt a pet together. They could move in together. Do you know how stressful moving is? I swear, if you can survive moving with someone, that is a testament to your relationship. That and putting together IKEA furniture. I hate IKEA furniture. If a relationship's going to blow apart, it's going to be when you put together IKEA furniture. There's no words, just pictures. Nothing's labeled. They're releasing a movie. Yes, they are releasing a movie for Semantic Error. They said there's some additional scenes, so that should be fun. Sometimes the Korean BL releases a movie and it's just the existing episodes, but smushed together. So I'm really excited for some additional scenes. That would be great. The random X trope is horrible. Like a healing series. Loving the second season of To My Star. If you love the second season, that's great. I am not as much, but everyone likes different stuff, right? So that's the cool thing. And I really like that we are getting a lot of different things now in BL. It seemed in the beginning, it was just the university setting BL, and now like high school, university. And now we've expanded out into workplace, different types of workplaces. I just finished Plus and Minus. That's 2 lawyers. So, I like that we're getting more diversity. And I hope as the production companies get more money, we can get kind of even more like, let's have, okay, there was a vampire one. I wasn't very happy about that one. Another vampire BL or like werewolf or outer space or more historical ones. We haven't really had that many historical ones either. So, I'm all for it. Let's have all different ones. I'm trying to scan through some of these. Do you watch cross-dressing drama? Spring of Crush is airing in Korea and Japan. I haven't heard of Spring of Crush. I don't think I've heard of it. I'll write it down. I'm writing it down right now. Spring of Crush. I do watch other things other than BL. So I like romance is my favorite genre. So I like romance. Mermaid. Let's get some mermen. Yes. Triage. I haven't watched Triage yet because I'm hoping we get an official international release for the whole thing and not the 2-hour thing. So I haven't started it, and I'm trying so hard. I'm not watching it on sites that shall not be named. So I'm trying to wait until it finishes airing, and I'm hoping we get, you know, an international release. Hey, Gaga Ooh La La is here. Gaga Ooh La La, if you're listening, can you go pick up Triage for us, please? Oh, Spring of Crush is historical. Oh, that sounds good. Favorite live action was Cherry Magic. It's a good one. It might be my top Japanese BL. I'm not sure. I'd have to look at my list again, but yes, definitely. I'm going back to see if I missed things. Oh yes, there's a free code for Gaga Ooh La La somewhere in Discord. I'm not very familiar with Discord. I'm like older. So I'm not really familiar with how to use Discord that much, but I saw that it said there was a free code for 5 days. So you could like binge, just, you know, have a whole weekend of binging everything on there. I highly recommend the stuff from Strongberry, like I mentioned, the Step for You and now I'm like even forgetting the ones that I said. But there's quite a few from Strongberry on there. As If You Whisper, My Pistachio's on there. I think Long Time No See is on there too. That has some content warnings on it, FYI. But I'm kind of squeamish, and I did okay. So also don't read the summary of Long Time No See because a bunch of them have a spoiler in it. It's very sad. So my suggestion is if you ever watch Long Time No See, just don't read it. Don't read the description. Just go in not knowing anything, and then you can fully enjoy it. Let's see. Our flag means death. Yes, I did. I did indeed. I got the subscription for a month. I binged a bunch of things. I think that's on HBO Max, right? Pirates? Let's go. Yeah, Pirates for sure. It had a great cast. That's actually one of the few series that I laughed out loud multiple times. And I don't really like things that are violent, so I kind of, I don't know, skipped over, like, looked like this through a few parts. But yeah, I really like that series. And I think they also had an announcement for a second season. So we should get a second season of Our Flag Means Death. And I hope they go into more of the relationship stuff. Dear Gaga Ooh La La, please pick up Spring of Crush. Let's see. Oh, there's a lot. Okay, wait. Cherry Magic is cute manga. I haven't read the manga yet. Do I watch anime too or just live action? So I watch some anime, but there's not a lot out there. So I've seen Yuri on Ice, and I don't want to say them because I'm going to pronounce all the names wrong, and I'm going to feel bad. I'm sorry, but I have watched some of them. I will say that the anime I've seen, a lot of them have non/dubcon in them, which is kind of hard for me to watch. So, I mean, I know it's anime, which I think is a little bit easier for me to watch than a live action that has the same thing. But I definitely will watch anime. There was one that came out recently, and I'm going to like totally mess up the name though. Miyako? Is that one of them? It's like Sasuke? Sazaki. I can't remember what it is, but I liked that one. Let's see. Am I watching Old Fashioned Cupcake? I am watching every BL that is airing that has official, an international release that has official English subtitles, except for Triage because of as I mentioned, the 2-hour window is kind of tricky. But yeah, if it's airing, if there's like 16 series airing, I am watching 16 series a week. Yes. Yes. It only has 5 episodes though. Yeah, it's a short one. I really, really, really liked it, except for this last one, which I think was the 3rd episode. I was so happy. And then at the very end of the 3rd episode, I was like, what? No, you did not. So I personally didn't like that part of it, but I've liked the rest of it so far. So favorite Japanese drama is Pornographer. Yes. It's also called, by the way, The Novelist. I guess they didn't want to use the title Pornographer in some places. So if I think it's on Viki, it's The Novelist. But I think if it's on Gaga Ulala, I think it's Pornographer. So just so you know, there's 2 different titles. Ken Porsche. Yes, I'm watching that. Watching it all. Given. And yes, I've seen Given. Oh, yes, Given. Sazaki to Miyano. Yes, that's the one. This will be on YouTube. Yes, I believe this is being recorded for all eternity. And it will be on YouTube. So, did anyone... Boys Love series. Are you talking about like the live action series? Like the Make It Right kind of things? I think there was, I don't know that I've seen I've seen almost all series, but there are some of the older ones that I haven't seen. Oh yes, The Stranger by the Beach, I think is the English translation of, again, I don't want to pronounce it. I'm going to pronounce it wrong. I know Étranger. I think that's French, so I can say that part. I really like that one too. That movie, that anime I like that one. Oh, Pornographer is taken down for one of them. Yes, it's called The Novelist in English. Classmates I've also seen. I think you can buy Classmates on Amazon Prime. So there are some things on Amazon Prime that you can actually buy. So I have bought a couple things on there that I couldn't find other places. Titles were Boys Love 1, Boys Love 2. I don't know what that is. We have just a couple minutes left. I'm just curious. Can people say where they're from? You can be really general. You don't even have to say just like a region, like a whole continent if you want to. But I'm curious where everyone's from. Canada! Woohoo! And you are the ones who brought us Schitt's Creek. So thank you very much. Finland, Asia, England, Brazil. Ooh, Estros. I love Estros. That's, I think, on Amazon Prime. USA, Hungary, Portugal, USA, Norway, Mexico, Japan, UK, all over the place. Texas. Wow, nice, everyone. Cool. I know the time zones are tricky, so I know that some people, I think, couldn't make it because it's probably like their sleeping time right now. But hopefully, since this will be on YouTube, other people can watch it and enjoy. And maybe they'll cut out this last part of me blabbing on about whatnot. The Philippines, awesome. Thank you for joining the BL live action game. The Philippines really feel like came out of nowhere during the pandemic and had some really awesome series. So I really like that we're getting BL from more countries. It's cool because everyone kind of has some different takes on it or styles and things. Venezuela, nice. I don't know if I know any BL from Venezuela. Thank you. It's good to see how widespread BL is. Hungry, nice. It's really nice that I can read the comments now. I have to say that was really kind of strange. Me presenting, I couldn't see anything or hear anyone else. Very welcome. Hungry. Very welcome. All right, so it is 2:30, so I think we're probably going to wrap it up so everyone can enjoy the rest of the con, thank you for attending the convention and for attending this presentation. I hope you got some good recs. Maybe you'd seen every single thing on there and you just got to hear me chat about stuff, but maybe you didn't and you got a few other things to watch. So thank you very much, everyone. And if you want to fill out that form that I had before, and I think that FujoCon said they'll like share my links or something, or I'll get in contact them. I'll post stuff on my social media too, so I can share stuff out that way as well. Only caught the last part, but thank you so much for the panel. Very welcome, everyone. All right, well, thanks again. I hope everyone has a great rest of the convention. I guess I'll just stand here smiling or sit here smiling until it stops.